Hey guys, so I just wanted to do a quick little comparison here of the speed between the Sony latest high-end phones family. So we do have the XZ1 on the left, which came out about a year and a half ago. We have the XZ2, which came out early 2018, and we do now have the best Sony ever made, the XZ3, which is, I'd say, easily competitive to everything else on the market right now. So I just wanted to have a look here at the build quality as well as the performance progression. You can see the actual build quality has definitely changed over the last year. I mean, you can definitely see a lot of HTC kind of Samsung influence coming into Sony design. And to be absolutely honest with you, I actually miss some of the old kind of design here with the XZ1, which comes with like an aluminium kind of round edges, which is very nice, as well as this kind of omni-balance design here, whereas it's very kind of slippery on some of the more recent handsets from Sony. It looks nice, don't get me wrong, but it feels a little bit plasticky. Obviously the XZ3 does make up for that with the much more solid sides here, as well as the curved display, which is like the first in the Sony series. So let's have a look and see how they do compare. Just going to boot them all up at the same time here. Power buttons as well, completely different on all of them. We do have the old kind of fingerprint scanner power button in the XZ1, which wasn't widely accepted really as the best place, but I've never had that many problems with this side kind of mounted one. I thought it was actually decent enough to use day to day. Obviously if you in some countries you don't actually get any fingerprint scanner, which was terrible, but I think they might have sorted that out now. So you can see in terms of the startup, pretty much the XZ3 beating the others overall. You can see as well XZ3 coming with a very nice OLED panel now, although I have found that the older kind of Sony kind of displays were still fantastic in terms of the viewing angles, etc. It's just a little bit outdated compared to what you're getting on the latest stuff. Let's have a look then at some benchmarking. So we do have where is it, the Geekbench app. Here we go. So we'll just open this up on all of them. And you can definitely see the display differences here. We are getting Android 8 on the XZ1 versus Android 9, so slight difference there in terms of the software. And I've got to say, there are some definite differences here when it comes to software. Actually, you notice it, like for example on this area here, which on the Sony XZ1 is pretty kind of old kind of thing. It reminds me of how it used to be back on ICS, but you do get like a newer kind of area here, which looks quite nice on the XZ2 and XZ3, and that new kind of feel does extend to the settings, which looks a lot better on the latest model. And also you can see a massive kind of screen real estate here, even though the actual size of the phones are pretty much identical in most respects. I think the XZ2 is actually a little bit thicker than the other ones. The XZ1 does look a little bit thinner overall. It does come with Snapdragon 835 as well, which is slightly older than the 845 in the XZ2, but you can see it's still very potent in terms of the performance, and with Android 8 it absolutely runs fantastic. So that it's not something too big to worry about. They had an amazing deal on recently as well on Amazon with the XZ1. You could get it for €200, which I think is like the best price you can get for any kind of high-end phone recently. So don't think it's available now, but you know, these deals do come and go quite quickly. Really impressive performance here. I think the RAM remains the same on all of them, 4 gigs, although internationally you can get 6 gig RAM XZ3. I think that is the case anyway. I've lost track of specs, it's not hugely important nowadays. I think the XZ1 also came with quite a small battery, which was quite average in terms of the battery life, but the newer phones are much bigger, which is good. And you can see, you know, in terms of the Geekbench, XZ2 actually beats the XZ3 when it comes to raw performance. So is that correct? Well, just for the single core, the multi-core is going to XZ3. So that is quite nice, but still, you know, quite solid performance from XZ2 here. And what can the XZ1 get? So nearly 2000, as you can see, which is quite decent score. Puts it around, well, it puts it way in front of the XC and X Performance. And I mean, look how many models Sony has, man. X Performance, XC, XC1, XCS, Xperia X. Seriously, they have so many models nowadays. You need to tighten it up, I think, a little bit. But you can definitely see here some nice scores nevertheless from the XC1, which was a fantastic phone. The only real issue I had with the XC1 kind of series was that the backlight had some bleed on it a little bit, and I can definitely still see it here with this model. As you can see, you don't get that with the latest XC2. They really have nailed the build quality a lot better, which is good. So yeah, just a quick little comparison here between the XC family. I think quite a lot of people do like to see the progression here now and again. I hope you find it helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.